Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, developed by Serenity Forge, developer Dan Salvato, I think is how you pronounce his name. Doki Doki Literature Club originally came out as freeware, as a visual novel, and then some years back got a release on Steam. And then this copy, Literature Club Plus, came out around August 2021, that is, and includes a couple extra things, some side story content, there's some music tracks, unlockable images, and I'm just reading these things off the back, to be honest. And you get some goodies. Checking out the packaging here, very nice little disc, and we also have, what is this? A poem, as you can see, and poems are a big part of this game. And we have some push-out, I don't even know what these are, chibi poster pictures? I don't know. And some chibi-looking stickers, and a soundtrack download code, which I won't show you the other side because the code's on there. And our little Literature Club membership card, which I haven't filled out. I've actually just left it blank because, I don't know what to do with that, to be honest. And then I have a card, I guess, for someone in the metaverse. I don't know what that is. I don't even think that's part of the game. Anyway, interesting game with interesting history. I always like when these indie games go on to find some sort of cultural relevance or become really popular in the mainstream, because Dan Salvato, I don't think when he originally made the visual novel form of Doki Doki Literature Club did he think it come to the point where it has evoked an entire community of people obsessed with these characters, obsessed with the game, enough to where they'd go on to write more for it. So what is this game? Well, as I was saying, it's a visual novel, and you play as a character starting school, and their high school longtime friend, Sayori, I think is her name, invites you to come join the Literature Club. And the Literature Club has a group of a few girls in it, and they basically talk about books, and they write poems, and that's it. And you'll essentially go through text, and you'll read the story along with these few characters. There's Sayori, Yuri, Natsuki, and Monica. And based on kind of some of the gameplay aspects that you interact with, you will somewhat have your choice of preference of dating the girls, and not really dating, but just experiencing, spending time with them, or I don't even know how you put it. But the story is really interesting because, yes, you're part of this club. Yes, you're writing poems. Yes, there is a fun school event coming up that all the girls are planning for along with yourself. But in the background somewhere, there's something really mysterious and dark happening that will unfold over this game. And I'm going to try and be very loose with my language here, but kind of leaks into the thriller horror aspects, which I love because the game has cute music with cute chibi characters, and if you've played a dating sim on the internet or something like that, you kind of know where I'm going. But the game really goes into this meta psychological thriller realm, which I didn't expect. I thought was really interesting and intriguing, and being that I'm not huge on the visual novel game genre, very enjoyable to read along and to experience. The writing was really good because it drew me in a lot. The dating aspects of the sim game, again, not really my thing, but everything happening around it that occurs, I was really pulled into that experience and kind of seeing what happens next. Now, in the gameplay sense, there's not a lot of gameplay, so to speak. I mean, usually what you're doing is just flipping through text banners at the bottom of the screen, and then these 2D sprites of the girls, or whatever, are reacting or moving or just staring at you, essentially. And then you get some nice pictures here and there throughout based on how you experience the game. But you'll read through, you'll make some very light choices. A good example is you write poems every day in this game. And so what comes up is a little diary, and it has, say, 20 words. And you'll see the little chibis of the girls at the bottom as well. And every girl has word preferences. So as you choose words, one of those chibis will react excited that you chose that word, and so on. Well, the next day, after you've chosen all these words, you have to go and show the poem that you wrote to the other girls. And so you get to choose in what order you show the girls these poems. But based on whichever poem aligned most with whichever girl, that will change the scenes that you see play out. And so that's about how deep the choices go in this game, and that's about how deep the gameplay goes, at least when you're experiencing the visual novel part. But then later on, Doki Doki Literature Club Plus takes place within a virtual machine. So when you are in the game, you can exit and go back to this virtual machine, and then you can quit from the virtual machine to go back to the game screen. And while that doesn't make a whole lot of sense just explaining it, when you're in the game, there are things that you can interact with on the virtual machine which may affect the outcomes of the visual story that you're experiencing. And I don't want to share too much. I just want to throw that in there. But that piece of the gameplay gets really interesting because of what it affects in the game itself. And so that's the gameplay in a nutshell. Not a whole lot happening here, but interesting nonetheless. To that extent, there's not a whole lot you're doing otherwise. The music is pretty fun. I really like the music. It's got that Japanese cheery visual novel music style, I guess is what you would call it. And yeah, you'll just hear a lot of that music. And the soundtrack seems to be very popular because I got a code for the whole soundtrack to download. The soundtrack's also available in the virtual system as well. And moving on to graphics. So graphics, the whole game is drawn in 2D images and sprites. There's not a huge variety of backgrounds. The girls are all drawn exactly how you would expect anime girls to be drawn. I did like how crisp everything was because, you're playing it in 4K on a 4K TV on a PlayStation 5, so things are running really smooth loading 2D images. So I was impressed top to bottom with that experience. Yeah. So overall, very interesting game. Enjoy the story and check it out. I think for that alone, it's worth the price of admission. But otherwise, I think it's something you really have to be into to get the most out of. There's a lot of side content that comes with Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. I only played the core story because that's really what I wanted to experience. But for someone who really becomes a fan of this game and of the experience, I think you'll get a lot out of it. So overall, that's all I had to share with you. Did you like the video? And if you did, please like the video. And what did you think of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus? Anyways, once again, it's good seeing you and looking forward to next time. Take care.